Hi, I'm Drake from Mugen Seiki here. Going to show you today how I set the ride height on my Mugen vehicles. One thing that's really important that you need to make sure you do before setting your ride height is make sure your buggy or truggy is race ready. I like to always set my ride height with a full tank of fuel. That's the easiest way to kind of duplicate or to be consistent time after time. There's really no right or wrong way. It's just that's kind of a tip that I use to make sure it's consistent every time I set my ride height. So I have here the Ghia ride height gauge. There's a lot of different gauges out there. Basically, you're just measuring from the ground to the bottom of the chassis. This gauge is just pretty simple, small, fits in your toolbox, so that's why I like to use it. Another tip is to always make sure you set your ride height on a smooth, flat surface. I have a setup board here. Just make sure it's a flat surface, no uneven pit table or anything like that. So I'm going to take the gauge here, set it to 27 millimeters, take the buggy from 6 to 8 inches, drop it, slide the gauge under the back. The gauge won't quite go under the buggy, so I need to raise the ride height just slightly. Repeat that, drop the buggy again. Gauge slides right under the chassis but just starts to rub. So that's perfect in the rear. For the front, I run 26 millimeters. Take the buggy one more time, drop it, slide the gauge under. It doesn't rub the chassis at all, so the front is a little bit high. So I'm going to lower the front. And one thing to always make sure when you set the front ride height is you want to measure it from where the bend in the front of the chassis stops. So you want to measure from the flat portion of the chassis. So we'll drop the buggy one more time, slide the gauge under. It just starts to rub the chassis. There's no distance between the chassis and the gauge. So you're ready to go, ready to hit the track. I like to do this before every run just to make sure that it's consistent, simple and easy to do. You can do it in a matter of seconds and go on out and hit the track.